Hello and welcome to Cheapest MTG. I'm Alex. Today we'll be going through some more standard videos, and we're going back to a deck tech which we originally ran in Shadows over Innistrad and had a few updates with Eldritch Moon. So here we are with Red Green Wolves Reloaded. So the deck is not too dissimilar to what we were running in Shadows over Innistrad. There were some changes I made towards the end, so the addition of Nissus, for example. But it got a few tools out of Eldritch Moon. So we'll just go through the deck. For Village Messenger, it's a nice aggressive 1-drop, which is really the aim of this deck. This deck should probably be called a red-green aggro deck, or a beatdown deck. Play 4 classic Prowler, another 1-drop that is quite good. Drop it on turn 1, it gets the beatdowns going. It's not an awful draw in the late game, because you can transform it into a 4-4, which can't be blocked by more than one creature. Which, when you have ways to pump the creature and give it trample, is quite nice. For Duskwatch Recruiter, arguably one of the best 2-drops in the format right now. A lot of people like it front face for the card draw ability, but its flip ability is actually very good in this deck, and something we will come on to later. Play 3 Lamport Pacifist. This isn't a standard beatdown card, because obviously it can't attack unless you pump it or have a big creature. And we don't naturally have the big creatures, but we do have the pump effect, so a Lamport Pacifist followed up with a turn 3 Anthem effect is usually a solid play. I play 4 Moonlight Hunt. This is where the werewolf synergies really pay off. We've got a solid removal spell. It does require you to have creatures in play, but it can deal with quite a lot of creatures in the format if you've got 2 or 3 werewolves out. For Autarch's Command, possibly my favourite card in this deck. I think this card's really quite underplayed, but most of the time you're going to be doing 3 damage to each opponent and pumping your team. So obviously any unblocked creature is going to get through extra damage. Autarch's Command just steals games as well. Gyreach Bandit, another haste creature, so it can sneak out after a board wipe and do some damage. Once it's flipped, it's very useful. Yeah, it's just a pretty good 3-drop this deck. Another werewolf synergy card in Halberd Resurgence. So this to me is the werewolf version of Always Watching, and Always Watching is a great card in the White Weenie deck, and this is an outstanding card in the werewolf deck. It works really nicely with Lamport Pacifist to allow it to attack. The fact it's got flash means you can play it in your opponent's turn, so you can play no spells in your turn and your Innistrad werewolves flip. So it's all in all, it's a very good card for this deck. As I said, new addition to the deck at the end of last standard was Nissa. Nissa is basically another Anthem effect with her -2 ability, but her plant tokens can be useful. So yeah, I find she's been very useful in this strategy. And we also play 3 Pack Guardian. Pack Guardian for me is just a great value card. You need 4 mana. If you discard a land, you get a 4/3 and a 2/2 that both get pumped by your Halberd Resurgences. They both help towards Moonlight Hunt. It's got flash, so you can play it around a sweeper. You can play it in your opponent's turn to ambush in combat. You can play it in your opponent's turn so your werewolves flip. It's got some really nice synergies with this deck, and the one that I like the most is you play turn 2 Duskwatch Recruiter and let it flip. You can then play a turn 3 Pack Guardian. It means you're putting 6 power onto the board in turn 3. And then if you've got like a Howlpack Resurgence, all of a sudden you can be attacking for something like 12 damage on turn 4. It's usually a game winner, that. Onto the land base, it's very simple. We play 4 Cinderglade, 4 Game Trail. We don't play any of the tap lands because we want all our lands to go into play on tapped where possible. Because we have access to 1-drops and we really do want to curve out. We play 7 mountains and 9 forests. Purely that's for... We do want an untapped red source on turn 1, because we do want to be able to get Village Messenger out on turn 1. Otherwise, we're going to play more forests because we have more green. Onto the sideboard, the big addition is Spirit of the Hunt. Spirit of the Hunt is great against sweepers, so Languish and Kozilek's Return. So usually you're sideboarding this card in whenever your opponent has access to a sweeper. Can come in useful against red burn decks, where you can do pump your creature's toughness out of range of a burn spell. We play 3 Fiery Impulse for against sort of White Weenie style decks. It's certainly one of the decks that that the Red Green Wolves deck had troubles with in Innistrad. For the same reason, 2 Classic Forge Masters. great at blocking the white weenie decks. One Chandra. So the deck post board needs a bit more mid-range oomph, and Chandra gives us that. She's a board sweeper, the ability to draw cards, and just a bit of aggression if you need it. Play 4th Pack Guardian. Again, if we go more mid-range, Pack Guardian is great. And then 3 Cups of Arlene Cord, similar to Pack Guardian. If we want to go more mid-range, Arlene helps us pump out some tokens. She's got a couple of pump effects, one of which is an Anthem, which is very useful, and the Bolt effect is not awful. And then trying out 2 copies of Ulrich of the Krallen Horde. This card is, I don't think it's the most powerful card. It certainly fits very well into the synergies, and if you can sort of repetitively flip it, it's going to be pretty good. But we'll see how well it gets on. So yeah, I'm going to take this deck through a friendly standard league, so there will be 5 matches. I've gone for a friendly league because, in all honesty, this deck isn't tier 1, so I wouldn't expect to take it to the Pro Tour. But I think it should do alright. Hopefully you'll join us for all 5 of those videos.